everyone. Today we are having our episode in English.
Hola a todos, hoy estamos haciendo un episodio completamente en inglés.
Our guest is
Nuestra
Marie
invitada
Iida,
es Marie Iida.
and we are speaking in English with her, and our interview is in English, so we thought our intro should be in English too.
Y nosotras estaremos hablando en inglés y creemos que entonces la introducción debería ser también en inglés. Y si ustedes no lo entienden, lo lamentamos mucho porque realmente nos interesa mucho más la opinión de Marie, que es la que habla. ¡Nah! ¡Me fui a la mierda!
I think we're doing an amazing job at interpreting here, Paola.
Por algo no fui intérprete, Marina.
We are so excited, though, to interview Marie Iida. We are honored, really, that she's doing this interview with us. And we hope you enjoy it.
Yes. For anyone who doesn't know who Marie is, turn your TV on and watch Tyding Up, because she is Marie Kondo's interpreter. Or go and order all your drawers, and then you'll know who Marie Kondo is.
Who Marie Kondo really is.
Really,
it's someone inside of you. You can do it.
Okay, what else?
The last thing we want to say in this intro is that we now have a YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
So you can go see all our ridiculous karaoke videos in our YouTube channel and hopefully laugh at us or with us, whatever you choose to do.
Yes, we are tidying up, we are tidying up
all
our videos in a YouTube channel. That's what we are doing. Yeah. Everything connects, Marina, everything.
Yeah, so we hope you like it, and I hope you love this interview as much as we do, because it was such a pleasure to interview Marie.
Yeah, today in Sleepers, Marie Iida.
Today we have the honor of interviewing Marie Iida. She's a Japanese translator and editorial coordinator. Marie was born and raised in Tokyo, Japan, and first moved to the United States at the age of 6. Moving back and forth between the US and her native country throughout her life, she developed a love of writing in both Japanese and English. She graduated from New York University and completed a master's degree in American Studies at Columbia University. She has worked translating screenplays for legendary Japanese filmmakers. Marie's work as a translator can be seen in renowned Japanese publications. She also has been working as a Japanese editorial coordinator and translator for a New York publisher. And she currently works as Marie Kondo's interpreter in the Netflix series Tyding Up with Marie Kondo. Marie, it's such an honor to have you join us in our humble podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. The honor's all mine. Thank you. And I'm sorry I couldn't bring the real Marie Kondo with me today.
No, we wanted to speak to you,
Yes,
we love Marie. We love Marie, but you are our hero. You're on TV.
Yes.
You're interpreting beautifully on TV.
And you're representing us so well. And we're fans.
Oh, that's always so great to hear from other interpreters that I did okay. Yeah, because I'm always worried about I'm always aware of other interpreters and translators watching the show. So I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, you're doing it very well. I want to tell you that, I have just moved to a new apartment, so I could really use Marie's help, So
oh my God,
it's such a beautiful coincidence to be talking to you today, because I have like piles of things around me looking at me all the time. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, okay. So you need to do the method.
Yeah, I need the method.
Yeah.
Okay, Marie, do you know what empantuflas means? The name of our show.
I was very curious. I was hoping you guys would tell me.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, pantuflas in Spanish are the slippers, because most of translators, not interpreters, because you interpreters have to dress up, and go out of your house. But we usually work at home, and we are usually working in our pajamas and slippers. We are very famous for using slippers all day. So that's why. So
wow,
now you're you didn't know that, right?
No, I didn't, and I'm actually kind of guilty because I'm kind of wearing like my sort of not pajamas, but close to it right now as I'm doing this.
We love
Okay.
it so
So,
much.
No, you're perfect. You're perfect. Yeah.
okay.
Marie, so growing up, you traveled a lot between Japan and the United States.
Mm.
Do you think this mixture of cultures growing up influenced your decision to do translation work?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think I'm sure you guys work as interpreters and translators too, right? I assume.
We
So,
try. I personally tried doing interpreting work, but it's
mm,
so difficult and stressful
Yeah.
for my brain.
yeah,
So I would
right.
much rather translate. Yeah, I
No.
work from
Right.
home translating, being able to proofread my work. I feel safer that way.
Mm, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
admire interpreters. They're like, I really do admire what you do.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you. Well, I think, you'll be able to understand what I'm saying, that when you speak multiple languages, I think it's easy to feel kind of lost because you can't fully identify with either culture. I definitely felt that way in my early 20s.
Mm.
I didn't feel at home either in Japan or the United States. So that kind of made me sad for a time. But seeing translators and interpreters working and doing a bit of both myself helped me see that I don't necessarily have to pick either one.
Mhm.
And being in the middle of two or more cultures, in the flux of it all can be an advantage. So, yeah, I would definitely say it influenced me growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting what you say about identifying with one or another, because when you're almost fully bilingual, that must be difficult, but you
Hmm.
found the great
Yeah,
advantage on it. So
right, exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And how was your transition from working
Mm.
mainly as a translator to working as an interpreter? How has this transition been
Right.
for you? Was it hard,
I
intimidating?
would
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I would say I started out more as an interpreter. I
Ah,
was working in Japan when I accidentally stepped into the role of an interpreter,
oh,
solely because I spoke English. So, uh,
yeah,
yeah, I was kind of out of, more of a convenience more than anything.
yeah.
After that, I went back to graduate school, and it was only after I graduated that I began to take on interpretation more seriously. But I've always loved to write, and I just always wanted to translate. And for me, breaking in the translation field was a bit harder. Thankfully, I
Mhm.
had many colleagues from the interpretation field who helped me connect with other translators and editors. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
So it was a bit
yeah.
interesting.
difficult. Yeah.
That
Hmm.
the accidental interpreter, I love that. I once at an airport, they asked people in line
Hmm.
if anyone spoke Spanish, and I was like, I speak Spanish. I'm a translator,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they asked me a few questions, and I had to translate for one of the
Mm.
people there, and then they bumped
Hmm.
me into first class. That was like
No
Wow,
the
way.
anecdote I have
wow,
from
very well
where being a
paid.
translator helped me. Yes. It
Oh
was
my
like
gosh.
I was so proud
That's
of that moment. It never
Oh
again
my.
happened, but I'm always hopeful that it will.
But that's a great anecdote, Marina, because the next time I travel, I will look for someone who needs my help, you know?
Yeah,
That's to
exactly.
see. No, but my friend was moved to first class, you know? I helped.
yeah.
I will claim for a seat.
So,
Yeah,
Marie,
that's
we're interested in knowing the difference. You know, what
hmm
do you like most between working as a translator versus working as an interpreter?
Yeah, well, when I interpret, I mostly do on stage consecutive interpretation. So, working with amazing talent and unique voices and seeing them connect with a live audience is always very exciting.
Mm,
And everything is done with so much speed when you're
yeah.
interpreting. So each second
Yeah,
counts. So it's kind of like an adrenaline rush, I would say. And
yeah,
yeah, and I'm sure you can relate, Marina, because being a translator is great, is because you really get to wrestle with the text for a very long period of time. And I'm constantly learning from my editors and other translators I collaborate with. So, yeah, there's definitely a difference,
yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah. We
say.
usually we usually talk about with Marina and with other guests, here in Pantuflas,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
the main difference we find between interpreters, well, one of the differences between translators and
Mm-hmm.
interpreters is that we usually have time, to correct our work,
Yeah.
to review our work, to obsess about our
Mm-hmm.
work. and you
Exactly.
and you do not have that opportunity. Everything is so fast paced that you have to,
Mm-hmm.
solve immediately, and that's it, and everything
Yeah.
remains there. But you,
Right.
Marie, you have another opportunity, a possibility that other interpreters do not have, that is to watch
Mm.
yourself afterward.
Oh my God.
So I wonder what happens when you watch the episodes. Are you able to enjoy
Mm-hmm.
the episode as audience, or you suffer in silence? You correct yourself, you bang your head against the wall. What you do?
Definitely the latter. It has been agonizing watching
Yeah.
myself. I don't know if you guys do this, but when I interpret, I usually keep like a notebook where I list all the mistakes I've made. But that
Oh,
was just always in my private notebook, but now it's on TV and everybody can see.
yeah.
It's oh my gosh, it's terrible, but fun at the same time. Hilarious for my family, so I'm glad. I'm glad it's so
Yeah, I
hilarious for
think
everybody else.
I think your family watches another show that is you. At the moment you're
Yes.
watching. Yeah, yeah, and I really understand the feeling, because I don't know
Hmm.
if I could, if I could take that. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's too
yeah,
much.
I know, yeah, but see, when I make a mistake on a TV show like this, I don't think I'll ever make that mistake because it's so embarrassing.
You
You
really do
know?
learn from your mistakes,
Yeah,
yeah. Which
yeah.
is the best way to learn anyway. So, but a lot of
Hmm.
people admire the way that you so elegantly interpret phrases from Japanese, and sometimes phrases that feel really untranslatable into English at first sight.
Mm.
Do you remember some of
Oh,
these
thank
examples
you.
that you can share with us, where you were able to convey the message into English even though it seemed pretty untranslatable?
Yeah, well, Marie, that is Marie Kondo, often uses, I guess you would say, mimetic words that describe conditions and states. Do you guys know what I mean? Like
Mm.
onomatopoeia,
Yeah,
words that
yeah.
are sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for example, Marie would often describe her little folded clothes as, in Japanese, tsurun to shita, which means kind of nice and smooth, almost slick or slippery. She uses that sort of language often, and they often gave me a difficult time because they're actually very reflective of her bubbly personality and they're important. So always felt that I could have done a better job conveying all of that. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about, yeah, sorry.
Because she's such a, yeah. No, she has such a cute, not cute, but like she has such an upbeat personality, and every word is important. I felt in conveying her essence.
Yes, I think that the
Yeah.
best I think the best about you is, or at least what
Mm-hmm.
I feel, when the times I watched the show,
Mm-hmm.
is that you
Mm-hmm.
are able to convey not only the words. Well, I don't know about the words because I do not speak Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's all
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, Marie. I don't really know if you're making any mistake, but but
Yeah.
yeah, you're able to convey the essence and the atmosphere, or
Mm-hmm.
the
The
atmosphere,
energy.
the energy
Yeah.
she has. They are like you are like
Mm,
twins.
thank
You
you.
look like twins sometimes. I
Uh,
don't know why. You are like vibrating in the
yeah.
same wave. I don't know. It's kind of
Well,
amazing to watch that.
yeah, well, it really helps that Marie Kondo really knows who she is and she's confident about who she is,
Mhm.
and that's really inspiring to see. So, yeah, I think I'm better able to interpret the person when they're very secure and they know who they are very
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
So, if that makes
Yeah.
that must
sense.
be a
Yeah,
good show.
that makes sense. I was gonna ask about what it is like to work on a show like this, especially such a popular show. Can you tell us more about the dynamics of filming the show? Like, do you have a lot of people there
Yeah.
when you're interpreting? How is that like?
Well, definitely. It was unlike any interpretation I've ever done for the show. I had never interpreted in a situation where I had to worry about the camera or the lighting.
Mm.
And not only was I interpreting between Marie and the family she worked with, I also had an earpiece throughout the filming.
Oh,
You can't see on the camera,
Oh
but I also
wow.
had an earpiece, yeah, throughout the filming so that the producers of the show could give us directions on where we should stand or making sure we were staying on time.
oh my gosh.
So, and the entire filming of the show took about 3 months, and we would shoot about 8 hours per day. So it was exhausting.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
yeah. And in addition to all that, I also had to do a bit of tidying to assist Marie. So which is kind of an honor because who gets to learn how to tidy next to Marie Kondo,
But yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds amazing. But it also, wow, that sounds
Yeah.
like a lot. So not only were you having the brain split in the two
yes.
languages, but you
Mhm.
also had to take into account people talking on your ear.
Yeah, you,
That must have
Yeah,
been
it's
super intense.
yeah, it's crazy. I had to wear many
yes,
hats,
Yeah.
but
and you know that tiny microphone they put in your ear is
mhm,
called cucaracha in
mhm.
Spanish. I don't know how they call it in English.
Oh.
In Spanish, it's
Oh,
like
Uh-huh.
cockroach. You know.
cockroach.
They say, yeah,
That's
they
what,
they are telling me in the
yeah.
cockroach that blah blah blah, and that's the producers that are talking to the ear
Right,
of the
right,
host or
right.
whatever. But I don't know the name in English.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Hmm.
No. Okay.
Oh, I always just called it an
Ah,
earpiece, but I hate it as much as a
yeah.
cockroach.
I think yes.
I think that's really,
But earpiece is less disgusting. I think the
yeah,
cockroach is awful. I don't know why. Why?
yeah.
And what about the takes? Do you have to
Mm,
make I don't retakes?
mhm.
Is that said? You have to repeat the scenes or not?
Oh yeah,
Ah,
sometimes we would have to because it's not always, we were always shooting in, sometimes we would have to shoot in very clamped closets and
yeah.
things like that, so the sounds wouldn't work. So yeah, we would sometimes have to retake. Yeah.
Wow.
And I always also wanted to mention that whatever I was able to do on the show was thanks to many different kinds of interpreters and translators that also work
Ah,
for the show. I was the one in front of the camera, but there are many editors
mhm.
and even subtitleists on the show who also spoke both English and Japanese. And they really made the show come together.
Well, that's
So,
Oh,
incredible
yeah.
because
that's really
we
cool.
didn't know
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
huge team behind.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I was just, thinking about one moment on the show that happened was when Marie she was telling one of the families on the show that she herself is not magic. Like in these traditional home makeover shows, traditionally people expect the celebrity designer or stylist to just come in and fix up
Uh-huh.
their home, but that's not how her method works.
Mm.
So you have to put in the hours and the hard work for any sort of transformative magic to occur in your life. And it was very important to Marie that the family understood this. So in that case, she actually stopped filming and went back to our car, and she jotted down some ideas of what she wanted to say and how I should convey this message. So she's very organized
Yeah.
on and off screen. So
Wow.
that helped
I,
a lot too.
yeah.
She's
Hmm.
also tidy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to speak too,
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm not surprised to
Yeah.
hear that she's very organized in all aspects.
Hmm.
But what has been
Yeah.
your biggest learning of working on that show with Marie? I mean, both as a professional and on a personal level too.
Hmm. Well, I mentioned this earlier, but I think she really taught me to know who you are and be
Mhm.
confident in who you are. Like as a short Japanese woman, I often felt that what I would say in the room would be overlooked. But Marie is like truly a testament to the fact that an influential voice can come in a
Yes.
petite, quiet presence. You don't always have to shout out your message from the rooftops. Like as long as you know who you are and are passionate about what you want to say, people will hear you. Like Marie never pretends to be someone she's not. So, and I also think it takes courage to be who you are at all times. And I found that very
Yeah.
inspiring. So that's what I learned.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
and it had an.
that's really it really shows, because what I like best
Mhm,
in the show is the moment where when she
mhm,
gets down to the floor and blesses the house or
mhm.
something. She does something to the house,
Yeah, yeah.
and what you say. She's so confident about what she's
Mm-hmm.
doing that it's not weird, it's not
Right.
ridiculous. It's like, okay, let's keep quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Marie's doing something. It's amazing. I love that part.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and I love how a lot of people have pointed out like how awkward I am, when we go walk into the door and like everybody hugging everybody, and you can always tell that I'm really awkward at it. But she's such a welcoming, warm presence. So yeah, she taught me a lot about interpersonal
Yes.
relationships.
Yes. What
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
there's another experience you had, a previous experience you had as an
Hmm.
interpreter of a famous Hollywood actor. Oh, alert, alert, people.
Yeah.
He's a cutie. Can you tell us how did
Hmm.
you get to that
Yeah.
gig and how was it?
I Sure. At the time, I was working for a film production company in Tokyo, Japan, and one of the films that the company produced invited the director, who also happened to be the actor in the film, and he was Ethan Hawke. And there was,
We love
Oh
him.
yeah,
my God.
I know, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a mishap, and the professional interpreter that they had hired couldn't show up on time.
Oh my
So
God.
during the interim, I had to step in, and I had just spoken to the actor, just hello in English, and he was the one who said, "Oh, she speaks English. Why doesn't she interpret for me for a
Oh
while?"
my
Oh,
God.
So it was kind
wow.
of,
So basically,
yeah. So it
Ethan
was,
hired you on the spot.
Ethan picked
yeah,
me. Yeah. I could instantly
yeah.
send a message to my friends, What did you do? Like,
Yeah.
Ethan asked for me.
Well,
Yeah,
I
guys.
was.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
incredibly nervous. It was one of those situations you see in movies where like the actor waits in the beautiful hotel suite
Yeah.
and reporters show up and ask questions one by one. I just felt really out of place, but I knew my boss was counting on me, so I did the best I could, and it helped that the actor was very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he was really
what a
nice.
cool experience. So
Yeah.
that's another accidental interpreter that you just, happen to
Yeah.
be there and know the
Hmm.
language, and that's amazing. What a great
God.
experience to have.
Yeah.
No, I
I
admire you
know.
that you didn't faint or drool. Like,
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
because I would be
No,
like,
Ethan was very nice.
what? When he would be talking, I would be like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
congratulations.
I definitely called my mom and I was like, "Oh, I'm interpreting for Ethan Hawke."
That's so
Yes, of
cool.
course.
So cool.
Yeah.
Um, Marie, we have a final
Mm,
question. We've been
mm,
asking this question of all of our guests this season, and it's
mm,
how do you
mhm.
see the translator of the future? How do you think the translator of the future will be like?
Mm.
Well, yeah, that's an amazing question. What I love most about working on the show is that it proved that this kind of format is possible. Interpreters and translators can play a role, I think, in introducing diverse ideas and voices from around the world in a streaming show. I think it takes more creativity to do a show in a different language, but we have the technology and the production mechanism to make it work today. So I think, it's so important to bring in shows that are not only produced in countries you often hear about.
Mm.
And I like to think that the future of translators is bright because reading between the lines and understanding the nuances of language and tone, I think, are things human beings are much better equipped at doing than
Yeah.
machines. So does that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah, I
agree. We
think I
Yeah.
totally
think
agree.
what
So
you
I,
do on the show is a perfect reflection of that, because you're such an amazing
mhm.
presence there, and you're representing interpreters so well, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing to watch. So we want to say that we're huge fans, and you're doing a fantastic job, and thank you
Oh,
so much for coming on our podcast.
no,
Yeah.
no, thank you so much for all your insightful questions. I really appreciate it. It was an honor.
Okay, no, it was our honor, and thanks a lot for taking this moment to talk to us. And I guess our listeners are going to be thrilled when they listen to you because it's
Yes.
been a great interview. So
Yeah,
thank you very much,
we're gonna
Marie.
receive a lot of great feedback, I'm sure. So thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
All right, thank you
Thanks.
guys.
Este fue un nuevo episodio de En Pantuflas. Podés encontrarnos en la página en-delmediopantuflas.com y suscribirte para escuchar los nuevos episodios en Podcast Addict, Google Podcast y Spotify. Prohibida su reproducción musical por Los Ángeles, Paula Caballero, Argentina, las pantuflas de flamenco son mías.
Y las de tigres son mías.